Hello, Amal. I am happy to welcome you in our video podcast. And Amal Ranen is a very, very talented girl working in the field of AI, which is not common in Tunisia because women in AI technology, they are little women that are working in this field. And you are someone who really have an international experience in a big company, working in the edge of this technology, and we want to share your experience with our audience. So, would you please introduce yourself to our community?
Okay, thank you very much. Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure for me to be here with you today. Thank you very much again for the invitation. It's an honor to interact with you, with the Tunisian community in general. So my name is Amal Ranen. I am a research scientist at DeepMind, and I'm also a member of the executive board of the deep learning INDABA. I have a PhD in machine learning that I got from KU Leuven in Belgium. And well, I have been working with DeepMind for 3 years now, almost, working on various subjects, but mostly focusing on continual learning these days. Yeah.
We were talking on off that you have a strange university pathway. So you studied in Tunisia, in Korea, in Belgium. So can you tell us about your university pathway?
Okay, so I grew up in Tunisia. I studied here until the age of 18 years old. I benefited from a wonderful public system that allowed me at the end to get a scholarship to study abroad. So I went to France first then. I did what we call classe préparatoire for engineering studies. After which I sit for the national exam that got me into Supélec in France. I studied for 3 years engineering, this classical engineering system. Well, I made personally the choice between the second and third year of my studies at Supélec to take a break, to go explore the professional market, to test some of the fields that actually intrigued me. And at that time, I was interested in finance mostly. So I did a few internships. One of them was in Tunisia, actually. I worked a couple of months with STEG here on a very interesting subject. And, funnily enough, it was my first interaction with AI. At that time, we worked on
smart grid or something.
No,
like
it
that?
was a fraud detection problem. But it was really interesting, really great. So, yeah. I learned a lot from it.
Which year?
It was 2012. Yeah.
Okay. Already.
But yeah, so that got me intrigued in the field. After that, I went into 10 months of working in finance, exploring the field. It was something that interested me intellectually. Mostly, I'm a math fan from when I was very young. So I worked for KPMG auditing financial products, and then I worked for HSBC on central hedging. It was interesting, but I was much more intrigued by this AI field that actually attracted me from the small experience that I had in 2012. So for the last year in Supélec, I decided to actually follow a major that specialized in that. It's called Interactive Systems and Robotics. So which I started to basically to scratch the surface of what all these wonderful fields entails. And I felt by the end of it that it's great, it's exciting, but I still need to deepen my knowledge in it. So I decided to go into a PhD adventure. And well, I was in a crossroad at that time with family attracting me to South Korea. So I looked for a PhD there, and this is how I ended up starting my PhD in South Korea, in Yonsei University more particularly. So actually, this choice had an impact in the choice of the subjects I was going to work on, because I was mostly interested in reinforcement learning at the end of my master's. The fact that I had to go to Korea for personal reasons made me end up in a lab that is working on producing medical imaging, so turning the signals that you get from the big machines that you see in hospitals into something that is readable by humans. So it was a bit far from what I wanted to work on. The compromise that we found with my advisor is for me to work with machine learning on analyzing medical imaging. One of the big advantages of this lab and university is that they are partner or sisters of a big hospital, research hospital in Korea. And that gave me access to wonderful data to start a wonderful project on detecting actually cancer cells in extracted cancer, the tissue from breast cancer patients to do what we call margin assessment in an intraoperative environment. So the constraint was for it to be precise, both for detecting the cancer cells, but also for the healthy tissue, reducing too much of it, removing too much of it, and also to do it in a very short time because it's meant to be done during an operation. So I finished this project, and then I had from the beginning I knew that I wouldn't be able to stay in South Korea for long enough to finish my PhD. So from the moment I started my PhD, I was looking for a co-supervision at that time in France. So by the end of my second year, I got in touch with my supervisor, Mathieu Blaschko, who was working at that time in Centrale Paris. So we started working together, discussing what kind of subjects to pursue. And then he made the fortunate choice, I think, to move to KU Leuven in Belgium. So I followed him there in one of the biggest computer vision labs, actually, in Europe, if not in the world. It was really a great experience, and I say actually it's a fortunate choice. Life is made of opportunities, and sometimes you have to seize the moment and follow them, and be open to the possibilities, and you never know what can happen out of it. So I spent 3 years also on computer vision, but not medical images this time, and working more from the algorithmic side, trying to improve neural network learning. I focused mostly on neural networks, and working on subjects like what you call continual learning. This is what I'm working currently on. Just very briefly, continual learning is the research area where we try to make our models or neural networks learn from a sequence of data sets that are different from one from the other. So it entails some kind of problems.
So let me wrap up. You are born in Tunisia.
Yeah.
You studied in France,
Yeah.
in South Korea, in Belgium, and now we are working in London.
Working in
London. This melting pot inside. What will be the impact in your personal character and career? I suppose that it helped you a lot in your in working in an international culture company like DeepMind.
Yeah. So actually, for me, living in different environments, different countries, was an amazing experience. This is something that I really, really recommend. It opens your mind, opens your horizons, it changes your personality, your way of thinking.
Deep in your mind.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And gives you different perspectives on problems, actually. The way we see life and problems here is different from Korea, it's different from France, different from London. And every experience actually, it changes your way of thinking. And I think it's really a strength. I see it as a strength.
So you are so active in civil society, especially in INDABA, and you are close to the AI community in Africa. And how did you get the feeling about this community? Is it growing? Is it impactful? Is it something that can have some fruitful impact in the African continent. So how did you get this movement?
Okay, so let me tell you a bit on my experience with INDABA and how I ended up here. So actually, the very first time I heard about the INDABA, it was from a talk by Shakir Mohammed, one of the directors and co-founders. He was talking at that time about the importance of diversifying our landscape, our AI ecosystem, including everyone, in order to reach an AI that is truly beneficial to everyone, that is ethical, that doesn't suffer from the same biases as we have as humans. Yeah. And he talked about this wonderful grassroots movement that's called the INDABA and what it did through the years, starting from 2017. Yeah. And I just got hugely inspired. At that time, I was doing an internship at DeepMind before joining. So I just went to the people who are managing the INDABA and talked to them, asking how I can contribute. It was, I just wanted to, join this nice energy and positive movement. And they put me in touch with Karim Begir, who was actually organizing the INDABA X Tunisia in 2019 at that time. We had a wonderful collaboration together, a wonderful edition in Tunisia, bringing many people from the country and outside of the country together, talking about interesting topics. I had also the opportunity to interact with students at that time through a workshop. It was a wonderful experience to interact with people who have the willingness to learn more than what the system can offer them sometimes. And it was hugely inspiring. Yeah. So I wanted to continue working. So as soon as I came back, I finished my PhD and started properly working, I reached out again saying that I want to have a more active role. That was in the end of 2019. We were starting to work on this edition of the INDABA in Tunisia.
Unfortunately, COVID-19 and it doesn't...
Then COVID happened, and we had to delay for many years, or 3 years, this edition. This being said, that didn't mean that the INDABA stopped working. So what I did is I continued working on the INDABA Access, but from a different perspective. I joined the organizing group for the INDABA X centrally. So the role was to centralize the applications, make sure that they happen, give them funding appropriately, and support them even in non-financial way, making sure that they have speakers, that they can work together as a community in their countries, and structure their programs well, and all the other aspects of the program. And I thought actually that was very much more inspiring than the first INDABA, because it's exposed to 20 more countries. It's just multiplied by 20. Each one with their own stories, with their own backgrounds, their own challenges, and it was just a lot of learning personally and otherwise. It was really an opportunity that I am still grateful for, to interact with these people. The impact it makes. So just maybe I jumped many steps talking from the INDABA to the INDABA X. So the INDABA is a community, an organization that targets the whole continent. It has this main annual reunion every year, but the number of people we can have in a single main INDABA is just nothing compared to the potential and compared to the people who are interested. Every year we have thousands of applications, we can only have a few hundreds participating. So the INDABA Access is a way to reach much more people in the continent. So it's actually a small INDABA organized locally in each of the countries. And having potentially more than 50 local INDABAs can reach many more people, or thousands of potential students, and change their really change their lives. So the impact is really huge.
And what will be your feeling about INDABA in this 5th edition? We are moving from 2017 now till 2022. So something is happening, something is changing, and now we are in Tunis in this 5th edition. Did you get some differences, some improvements, some spark, let me say, about AI in Africa, because a lot of people say Africa should not left behind, but in real world, Africa it's a little bit in back in comparison with other continents. But in the ground now with INDABA, did you see a little change toward acquiring this technology and mastering this technology?
So, well, I haven't been here for the previous INDABA. This is my very first main INDABA.
Okay.
But I followed the INDABA access over the years. What I can say is that the numbers are growing. So, for example, the INDABA X started in 2018. The first edition had 13 countries. The second edition in 2019, if I'm not mistaken, had 23 or 24 countries, so it's almost doubled. Okay. Then COVID happened, obviously, the number reduced, but the last couple of years we had 22, 20, and this year 25 countries. This being said, it's not the same countries happening every year, so we are reaching more and more communities. So we are really, I mean, the map started very sparse and it's starting to be filled more and more. And what I noticed, actually, this INDABA, is that many people coming from other countries to us to tell us, okay, we want to have an INDABA X, what can we do? And this is great, this is why we're here. So the network is growing significantly. And yeah, I mean, even inside single countries, so we have, yeah, maybe local groups that are used to organize the INDABA, but this year I heard more than once groups from the same country that are interested to join the adventure. So even locally inside each of the countries, this adventure actually gives a platform or a structure to connect all these components together. And this is the goal, is to build community, to build bridges between them, and to connect them so we can build together this wonderful ecosystem.
Up to now, INDABA is trying to connect the experts, researchers, and professional startups of AI. But correct me if I am wrong, there is no effort to invest in apps, in solution, concrete solution to develop and to change the citizens' life. So will be there some shift in INDABA strategy to invest, to support startups, to make some concrete solutions for mobility, for electricity, for energy, for health, or so on. So.
Okay, so first of all, the INDABA is a charity and not a business.
Yeah, of course.
And I think it's important that it stays so, for me at least. So, yeah, I think it's a great platform for people to meet, to bring startups, or business makers with people who can actually have the ideas and can make the work. And so I think it's actually a great platform for making connections. Okay. I don't think it's our role to be an incubator in some sense. We can foster ideas.
Yeah, but you can leverage, you have a big network and you can leverage support from a big company because they are also interested to invest in the community.
Yeah. So what we hope is that actually when we bring people from the continent with companies like our sponsors, is that they can make the right connections, talk to the right people so they can sparkle these ideas and then they can go to the ground and make it into businesses. We are happy to support both from making the connections point of view. We also have a wonderful mentorship program where we can link people from the continent with world experts so we can learn more from them with a more targeted way. You know, over time also it's a longer term collaboration or interaction. Yeah, but I think this is all great and it has the right components to actually sparkle or make these first sparkles that can turn into a wonderful mosaic of ideas of projects later on. So yeah, maybe, I don't know, personally I don't think we should engage in the business world. I really believe that It should stay a volunteer work. This is my personal belief. It's not just saying. It's not I'm not talking about with the INDABA hat here. I'm talking with my own hat.
Okay.
I think the fact that it's volunteer work actually has such a power, because people come with their beliefs, their ideas, and they make the work to make it happen. If it turns into businesses, it might lose some of this power, because the incentive is different, right?
Okay.
So yeah, that's
I got it. Let me come back to your professional experience with DeepMind. So getting access to this big company in terms of research, in terms of impact, how did you feel? How did you? What are your impression to come with a big team in edge technology, world-class technology? So it was easy. It was difficult. How did you engage with this company?
Okay. Well, thank you for the question. Actually, it's very important, because I think this is a message that I really want to get through to everyone. So for me, getting into DeepMind was actually made through getting exposed to experts and interacting with them. This is why I think events like the INDABA are really important, because we're trying to make the connections between world experts with local practitioners. So this is an opportunity for everyone to actually get in touch with this world expert, to talk to them about their research and try to see how they can collaborate with them and get into their, their companies or their work. Yeah. So for me, it happened actually through a conference. I met my current manager in a conference in 2016. We talked about my research. He got interested in it, and he actually recommended me for an internship. And this is how I got into DeepMind. This is why I think really these connections are crucial to maybe to get in these big companies, because I mean the world is full of talents. What makes us different is our background, our experience, and this is something that are quite hard to reflect in a CV. It's actually better when you talk to the people, you one-to-one, and tell them what you lived, what you went through, and what is your experience, your vision, your ideas, what you're working on, your projects, and everything. A CV is too short for all this. This is something that, it's actually really better to go through real life. Yeah. So my invitation to everyone is, try to get exposed as well as you could. I know opportunities are not always easy to come by, but, places like the INDABA are actually made for this, to make more opportunities for people, more accessible for more people in the world, especially here in the continent. So yeah, go meet people. Don't shy from it. This is actually how you access this comes in my experience anyway. It's not the only way, but it's a way that worked for me. So this is why I'm sharing it here.
So let me ask you my final question. So what would be your recommendation for African students or for AI communities? Networking, it's really a big issue and a very important recommendation. But what would be the suggestion that everyone should use to succeed in his professional career?
Okay, I think I would say be curious, try to learn everything. I mean, I don't know if I try to give you a description of my work in one sentence, I wouldn't be able to, because I worked on so many different subjects. I mean, I don't know. It's both an advantage and a problem, because this means that you don't have enough time to deepen maybe well enough one of the subjects, but it also gives you a lot of perspectives, and connecting the dots between all these different aspects is actually very exciting and can give way to innovative ideas maybe, and different ways of thinking about the problems that we are facing. So be curious, learn as much as you can. I know that there are wonderful resources available, even if maybe sometimes, I mean, and I know also that universities are developing interesting programs around AI. But even if you don't have access to one of these programs, there are plenty of materials online. Learn, try to make a background on coding, on different research problematics, to try to understand as many things as possible, and engage with other people who are working in this in the domain, so you can also refine your learning from their experience. And I'm sure, a lot of the people who are present here in the INDABA or through our mentorship program are really available and open to share their ideas, to share their background, their experience, to share, their knowledge. Everyone is very welcoming, and I'm sure if you reach out to anyone of the network saying, okay, I have this background, I want to learn more about this, they will be more than happy to direct you if they have the time and the capacity for it. So yeah, just don't be shy. Go out in the world and talk about your ideas, your projects, your dreams, and I'm sure that you will have ears that will listen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I was really pleased by having you in our video podcast. We are really, personally, I am proud to have a women, Tunisian women have all this success in the field of AI. And I hope all the best for you and for all African and Tunisian women. So congratulations, and I hope you will more and more success in your future life. Thank you.
Thank you very much. If I can say a few words to finish, about the women in machine learning in particular. I actually believe that we are doing here in Africa much better than many places in the world. So let's build in that. This is a strength. For example, an event like INDABA has more than 40% representation of female participants, which is amazing. This is great. Yeah. So it's a strength. We have a more diverse ecosystem here. We have the opportunity, the huge opportunity that we are starting from scratch. So we might, free ourselves from biases that exist elsewhere. So let's build on that and build the future from AI.
Success stories and your inspiring talks to get more women in this field. So thank you very much, Amal, and hope you see you again in other future editions of INDABA. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.